Ah Gott. Ach Gottchen. So. Also, meine Theorie ist jetzt, dass er durchs Gas vielleicht vergiftet wurde. Und diese zwei Statements halt contradictory sind. Blow blood into a gas pipe and you extinguish everything in the house and then you're in real trouble. Gegen, if nothing passed the victim's lips that night, there's no other explanation. Ist there? Ich probier's einfach mal aus.
Objection!
Und das ist scheinbar richtig. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious! To whose statement do you refer, counsel? Juror number 6. Did you hear what juror number 3 just said? What? Yes, of course. I heard him mumbling about something or other. There's another explanation here, I believe. Something besides Mr. Natsume's tea did, in a manner of speaking, pass the victim's lips on the night in question. What? What explanation? I wonder, did the police check the mouth of the gas pipe feeding the wall light at the scene, to see if there were any traces of poison there? I was curious to see what your floundering would reside in this time, but the mouth of a gas pipe. Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance. Wait. Oder? Okay, ich dachte, Shakespeare würde von dem Gas bewusstlos geworden sein. Aber wenn er die Gaspipe in die Gaspipe geblasen hat, gepustet hat, dann war ja in Sosikis Raum, müsste ja nicht das Licht ausgegangen sein, wie er es beschrieben hat, wie er es immer beschrieben hat. Und dann soll um das Rohr, in das er gepustet hat, Gift drin sein? Rionosuke, da bist du aber schon 3 Steps voraus. Also, weiß ich nicht, wie man darauf kommen soll, aber okay. Scotland Yard have enough to do without exploring such irrelevance. What a piece of work is a man. What are you trying to say, Mr. Shakespeare? What speakest thou? Prithee, is it not strange and strange? That is what I say to thee, sir. I thought I'd been quite clear, but let me put it another way. The strychnine could have been on the mouth of the gas pipe that feeds the wall lamp in your room. And that is how the poison came to enter your body. Good lord! Are they tasty then, gas pipes? Is that what he is saying? Or is the gentleman suggesting that the poor man was so desperately hungry he tried to fill his belly with gas? Perhaps no actress would perform a kiss scene with him, For shame, madam, speaking thy fancy. I assure you, I am not such a buffoon that I have to kiss pipes.
Objection!
This is no summation examination. This is a farce. The prosecution will not stand for any more of my learned Nipponese friend's conjecture. To begin with, the lamp in the victim's room is high on the wall. In order to have placed his lips to the pipe that feeds it, he would have had to be a contortionist. Contortionist? Contortionist. Schlangenmensch, okay. These are empty assertions. There is no possible proof that the man did as you say.
Objection!
It's true, I have no proof that Mr. Shakespeare put his lips to the pipe. However, I can say with some certainty that on multiple occasions, Mr. Shakespeare has been doing something in front of that lamp on his wall. And I have evidence to prove it. Alright, you've got our attention, lad. I like to see how you can be so sure of yourself. So would I. Let's see this evidence then. Now that I've got the jury's ear, I need to make this opportunity count. This is the proof that time and time again, Mr. Shakespeare stood in front of his gas lamp. Die Abdrücke? Ja, als ob. Ja, da ist hier die Lampe. Da ist hier die Lampe. Ich dachte, das wäre nur das Bild. Ah, okay. What the? These are... Wait. What are they called? Yes! Skin prints that were found at the scene. Skin Prints Council. I've never heard of such things. The Justice Ministry is currently assessing whether or not to permit fingerprints as evidence in court, however. My lord, this is an exciting new forensic technique developed by the great detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. It reveals all of the places that Mr. Shakespeare touched in his room. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, that's black magic, isn't it? Well, if anyone can invent someone like this, it's that great Holmes fellow, that's for sure. I agree, this month's edition of Engineering Thumbs was quite fascinating. We found skin prints in many places that you would expect. On the table, on the costumes. However, Mr. Shakespeare also appears to have been touching some very unexpected places in his room. For example, here, around the hanging picture there, indeed, multiple handprints appear to be visible. Okay, well, I wonder, could he have been appreciating the artwork perhaps? At first, my colleagues and I thought the same. However, imagine standing with your hands where those prints are, and you would find yourself directly in front of... Ah! I don't believe it! The gas lamp. Though the reason why isn't immediately obvious, it's clear that Mr. Shakespeare has regularly been standing with his hands to the wall, in front of that lamp. White, what have you been up to, you nut? I'd asked the court to recall juror number 4's earlier statement. Me? What did I say? You said that blowing into a gas pipe would make the lights in the entire building flicker. And now, if you recall juror number 3's statement. What? Me now? When the gas worker who visited his home blew with too much force into the pipe, it caused all the lights in the gas stove to go out, and gas to start leaking into the rooms. Obviously, that incident was an accident. However, the simple fact is, if Mr. Shakespeare were to have blown hard into the gas pipe here in his room, he could have extinguished every other light and gas stove in the building at will. Quickie! Are you suggesting that the man purposefully caused the gas to... Objection! Oh, sein wievieltes Glas ist das? Which I acknowledge that the prosecution is required to remain silent during a summation examination. I must toast my learned friend's utter disregard for the letter of the law. What is the meaning of this, Lord Van Zieks? This curious photograph, or whatever it is, presented by the defense, the so-called skin prints, clearly, that cannot be accepted as any form of usable evidence in this case. But it's an exciting new forensic technique, developed by a great detective. It's nothing. A mere toy, developed by an amateur sloth with too much time on his hand. Sloth. Sleuth. Oh, okay. Und Sleuth heißt Detektiv, okay. With too much time on his hand. Certainly, even research of this nature by the esteemed Mr. Holmes cannot be recognized by the court as formal evidence. But... Please, my lord, if I may, Miss Susato, it was not the defense's intention to submit the skin prints as formal evidence. We merely wished to present the results of the great detective's investigation of the scene, as a tool by which to explain a possibility to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And, if the trial were to come to an end now, we should never learn the truth behind these mysterious handprints that everyone has now seen. I don't believe we can allow that to happen, and I'm sure the jurors would agree. You're right. Whether those strange handprints are a significant clue or not, it's down to us to decide. Juror number 3. Oh yes, I do declare the great detective's investigation results sound absolutely fascinating. And I want to hear what that shady actor fellow has to say about those shady handprints. Nice. What's the matter with you two? This was foolhardy. Well, I did say it, didn't I? And I don't like to break a promise. No, wait! You heard his lordship. It's not fair, Dinkum. Nice. Einer noch, komm. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. If just one more juror changes his or her mind, Mr. Natsume's trial will have to continue. Thank you, Mr. Sato, but I couldn't have done it without you. Oh no, it was you who identified the clue after all. It is very much your success. Why, Mr. Shamspeare? You seem to be losing your composure. Just one more juror, Mr. Naruhodo. You can do it. Very well. Continue, Counselor. Okay. I'm a man of logic, me, and having considered all this evidence, the defendant must logically be guilty. I'm very interested in the result of this great detective's investigation, as it seems. We are the ones who decide if the evidence is worthy of consideration or not. Us, the jury. Gas doesn't come for free. It costs a fortune to deliver it around the city and maintain the pipes. Truth be told, the tea my wife serves up for me is a little sketchy at times. I don't believe in breaking promises. We can't come to a decision with so much is up in the air. Ich würde sagen, wir pressen erstmal den ersten, den Mr. Fairplay. Hold it! All the evidence, you say? That's right, and there's no room for doubt. It's all pointing at the Japanese man with the big moustache. Says the Englishman with the bigger moustache. But the defense just demonstrated another possible explanation for the event of the night in question. What do you make of that? What, your so-called skin prints? It's an exciting new forensic investigation technique, developed by the great detective himself. The numerous handprints on the wall are clearly out of the ordinary. And if Mr. Shamspeare had indeed put his mouth through the gas pipe on the night in question, it can't be denied that there's a possibility that's where the poison was. Well, yes, I won't deny that it's playing on my mind. But as the prosecution rightly says, we should pay no heed to unacceptable forms of evidence. And besides, yes, even if the fellow has been up to some mischief with the gas pipe dozens of times before, it doesn't mean he got up to the same shenanigans on the night in question, does it? Oh. If you can't make your case better than that, I'm afraid I can't change my stance. You do make a very valid point, sir. What? That's true. Perhaps I was a little hasty. No, wait! Look, you've got your chance here, haven't you? So it's time to prove your theory. If you and your Japanese cohorts can, that is. Just leave our nationality out of this, please. Mr. Naruhodo, if we can't substantiate our position, I'm afraid the jurors that changed their minds before may very well change them back. What can I do? Is there any more proof I can give here? Can I show that Mr. Shamspeare really did blow down the gas pipe on the night in question? I have supporting testimony. No, in truth I don't have evidence to support my theory. However, there's witness testimony that substantiates it. What's that? Testimony? This is incredible. Whose testimony? Yes, it's all connected. Everything is linked. A person whose testimony revealed details about the gas in Garadep's residence that night, namely Soseki Natsume, oder nicht? Ich speichere nochmal, aber ich bin mir sicher, weil er ja nachts das immer hat, dass sein Raum voller Gas wird. Take that! Obviously, I'm talking about the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume himself. The defendant! At the very beginning of the proceedings here in court yesterday, Mr. Natsume said the following. My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. Even on that fateful night, it happened when I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me. On the night in question, the gas in the defendant's room went out. So I asked the court, was it a mere coincidence or not? Good golly! So that Shamspeare fellow blew air into the gas pipe to make the man's stove go out on purpose. Now hold your horses there, what would he do that for? Mr. Foreman! What is it, man? We cannot allow judgment to be passed while this doubt remains. It's true that I don't have conclusive evidence yet. However, you must surely agree, there's more to this case than meets the eye. Ah! Fair enough. Like I said at the outset, I'm a man of logic, first and foremost. Nice. That's 4 jurors leaning towards not guilty, my lord. We've overturned the decision. Therefore, the defense calls for the trial to continue. As the defense has rightfully indicated, the summation examination has concluded with the majority of jurors altering the decisions. 2 jury members now call guilty, 4 now call not guilty. Therefore, the jury's opinion is conflicted and, in accordance with the law of this land, I hereby order the continuation of this trial. Mr. William Shamspeare. My lord, how can thy humble Shamspeare serve thee? What say you in response to the various revelations made during the summation examination? So God meant me, I do solemnly swear, I recall aught of either, the lamp or the pipe. But your handprints have made a tidy mess all over the wall there. How do you explain that, eh? I am done with this. The dignity of this great courtroom has been sullied enough already. Juror number 5. Who? Me? As I went to some pains to point out already, a print from the self-professed detective's toy has no place in a British court of law. Ah! As such, whether or not this man did indeed stand before the gas lamp with his hands against the wall, remains, at this time, unestablished conjecture. You would all do well to remember that. Ah!
Objection!
But the prosecution must concede that it would be extremely simple to verify. Ich wollte auch gerade sagen, schick doch einfach Gregson dahin oder irgendeinen anderen Scotland Yard Typi und lass das checken. Lass das checken. Einfach. Just order the mouth of the gas pipe feeding that lamp in Mr. Shamspeare's room to be examined. If there are traces of poison there.
Objection!
What appears to be extremely simple is my Nipponese friend's mind. You will recall that in order to check for the presence of poison in the tea, some remnants of tea were required. Yes. Therefore, it shouldn't be beyond your wit to imagine that even if poison were to have been spread on the pipe, it would have completely evaporated by now, making any analysis impossible. Oh damn, es ist verdampft, okay? I didn't think of that. In any case, counsel, I fail to see what could possibly have motivated the man to do as you describe. Why on earth would this fellow have wanted to blow air into the gas pipework where he lived? There's only one possibility that I can think of, and that is to use the leaking gas to commit murder. Okay. Order! Order! Counsel! Precisely, whose life do you propose this man was plotting to end? The answer couldn't be simpler. Now we've unraveled the mystery this far. Mr. Shamspeare wanted to end the life of Natsume then?
Take that!
If a gas lamp were to go out, it would be noticed immediately, of course. But the gas stove, on the other hand, could be silently extinguished by the killer without anyone noticing. I live around those parts myself, so I know what it's like. I can tell you, trying to sleep without the stove lit is pretty much suicide. You'd freeze to death in no time. Mr. Vergiftet, the landlord, has a large fireplace in his part of the residence on the top floor. In other words, it wasn't the landlord, but a fellow lodger whose life Mr. Shamsky was trying to end. Outrageous! I'm talking, of course, about the defendant. Mr. Natsume isn't the villain in this case. He's the victim this man was trying to murder. Good gracious!
Objection!
The accused is actually the aggrieved? Interesting. However, the fundamental facts of the case remain unchanged. Namely, that the accused is the aggressor here. What? How can you still claim that? Let us indulge your fancies for a moment and assume that there was indeed poison on the mouth of the gas pipe. The question that then arises is who put it there? Who did put it there? The only logical conclusion is that the person responsible was aware of this man's trickery with the gas supply and his intent to kill. Yes, that would indeed seem logical. If the assailant were unaware, how would he or she have known to lace the end of the gas pipe with poison? So now we must ask, how could anyone have known of Mr. Shamsby's murderous design? Ah, you mean to suggest? Naturally, the sole possible answer to that question couldn't be more obvious. Only the man whose life was being threatened could possibly have known. How could anyone have known? Okay. What? In other words, the person who put the poison on the gas pipe and what was a clear retaliatory attack can only have been the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Ah! Whatever Mr. William Shamsky may or may not have contrived to do, he was nevertheless the victim of a potentially lethal poison attack. And the only person who could possibly have perpetrated that attack is the accused, Mr. Natsume. The defense counsel theorizing has failed to avert suspicion from the accused. Far from it. In fact, now that the clear motive for the poisoning has been successfully established, that suspicion is greater than ever. Would you not agree, my Nipponese friend? Ah! Ah! Oh no. Alles wieder umgekehrt. How did he manage to turn that around on me so rapidly? Mr. Naruhodo, you must respond. Otherwise the members of the jury may very well change their leanings against us again. And this may be our last chance to gain the advantage. What advantage? Well, it would seem that somebody put poison on the gas pipe in Mr. Shamsby's room. So we must name that person now, and absolve Mr. Natsume of guilt. You mean, name the true culprit? I know it might sound impossible, but if we fail to do that, I have no doubt that Mr. Natsume's fate will be sealed once and for all. As it happens, one possible culprit does come to mind. Ja? Tatsächlich. The evidence, the poison. It's all pointing to a particular person now. The prosecution calls for the jury to consider their leanings again. I trust you'll make the correct choice this time, Mr. Foreman. What? Oh, don't you worry, we know exactly... There's one other person, who I believe could have been involved in all of this. the true culprit of this crime. The true culprit. A term found only in second-rate novels featuring third-rate great detectives, my Nipponese friend. But why not? This farce has gone on so far for so long already, I see no reason to cut it short before its disappointing climax. Thank you. Tell us, my learned Nipponese friend, what is your latest theory? Who is the so-called true culprit of this crime? Ich würde sagen, der Mr. Meterman. Der hier. Weil er hat doch am Tag vorher bei dem Shamspear die Pipes kontrolliert, oder nicht? Die Röhren. Hat er die... Ich glaube schon, oder? Nee, es ist Duncan Ross, der schon tot ist. Jack. Nee. Ich meine, sie hatte auch Gift, ne? Olive Green. Also sie war im Krankenhaus, das kann gar nicht sein. Oder? Shamspear war auch bei ihr im Krankenhaus ganz kurz zu sehen. Okay, es ist entweder sie, würde ich sagen, oder er hier. Adrian B. Meterman. Ich gehe erstmal mit Meterman, tatsächlich. You claim this person is the true culprit. Highly suspicious, I would say. Yes, okay. Dann ist er es nicht. Schade. Aber wer könnte es dann sein? Dann doch Olive Green, aber wie? Wie?
Take that!
The name of the person responsible for the poison that afflicted Mr. Shamspear is, I believe, Miss Olive Green. Miss Olive Green. Miss Olive Green. Aber wie? Also klar, sie hatte das Gift, ne? Aber sie war ja im Krankenhaus. I do feel as though I've heard that name in the recent past, Counsel, but I don't recall where. Miss Olive Green, the woman from 6 days ago. The victim in the recent case of stabbing on Briar Road. An incident for which Mr. Natsume was arrested, I hasten to add. Oh, of course, yes, Miss Green. She was left comatose for some 3 days, I believe, but I hear she regained consciousness 2 days ago. And I hardly need to remind the court that Mr. Shamspear's poisoning took place 3 days ago. Given that the woman was lying comatose in a hospital bed at the time, she appears to have a rather fine alibi. Oh, ach so. Aha, okay. Shamspear, sie vermutet, dass Shamspear Duncan Ross umgebracht hat, ihren Verlobten. Sie vermutet, dass Shamspear den umgebracht hat. Durch dieses Auspusten der Pipe, des Ofens, dass da Gas reingekommen ist und dass er dann da erstickt ist. Ach so, ja. Ja, klar. Ja. Given that the woman was lying comatose in the hospital bed at the time, she appears to have a rather fine alibi. True. On the night that the incident occurred, Miss Green was in hospital, unconscious. So on the face of it, it would seem that she couldn't possibly be responsible, but still. My colleagues and I visited Miss Green in hospital yesterday, and we found her to be in possession of a bottle of poison. Good gracious, she had poison! And there's another fact that links Miss Green to this case as well. The defense requests that be brought to the witness stand in order to explain the details to the court. Tell me, Mr. Shamspear. Okay. My lord, pray, what be thy bidding? Are you acquainted with Miss Green? No, never heard of her. Judging by the look on Mr. Shamspear's face, I think perhaps he generally doesn't know her, at least not by name. As the voice of Her Majesty's prosecution here, I adhere to my word. We will see my learned Nepalese friends fast through to its conclusion. I appreciate that. The prosecution requests a short recess, my lord, in order to subpoena, oh Gott, dieses Wort, also, herbeirufen, aber ich muss noch mal gucken, wie das ausgesprochen wird. Subpoena. Oder unter Strafanordnung vorladen.
To subpoena.
What?
To subpoena.
Subpoena, okay. To subpoena the witness and bring her here. Yes, Miss Olive Green. Indeed, my lord. 1 hour should be sufficient. Eine ganze Stunde, alles klar. Very well, I grant the request. Excellent, I hope. The defense has made a most extraordinary accusation, I must say. Okay. Are you acquainted with Miss Green? Okay. Accusation, I must say. But at the present time, I feel the prosecution's argument remains largely uncontested. Accordingly, I'm afraid the defendant's culpability remains the sole subject of this court's attention. Thank you, counsels. We reconvene in 1 hour. Court is adjourned. Okay. To be continued. Okay. Und ich habe das Gefühl, der nächste Part könnte dann der letzte in diesem Fall sein. Und hoffentlich die Relevanz aufzeigen, warum dieser Fall für Susato der Grund war, nach Japan zurückzukehren, beziehungsweise für Susatos Vater seine Tochter zurückzurufen, weil bisher ist der Fall zwar spannend und so, aber nichts, was Susato ja direkt gefährden würde, oder? Also habe ich jetzt nicht das Gefühl. Es sei denn, Shakespeare kommt jetzt frei und naja, Shakespeare wird ja eh frei kommen, wenn er sich nicht selbst angetan hat. Dann wird er vielleicht nochmal für Gasklau belangt, nicht bestohlen, ja moin. Aber dafür kommt man ja wahrscheinlich nicht ins Gefängnis. Ich habe keine Ahnung. Wieso der Fall relevant sein soll, warum Susato nach Japan zurückgekehrt ist. Aber wir werden es sehen. Erstmal denke ich jetzt, Miss Green könnte das tatsächlich gemacht haben. Aus Rache für ihren Verlobten vielleicht. Aber das werden wir dann nächstes Mal sehen. Denn ich beende jetzt erstmal diese Aufnahmesession. Ich muss gleich los. Deswegen bedanke ich mich erstmal für das Zuschauen. Ich bedanke mich fürs dabei sein. Und wir sehen uns im nächsten Part wieder. Ciao, tschüss und so, ne? Und Einspruch. Tüdelü, bis dann. Habt noch einen schönen Tag. Ciao, ciao.